What's up, everybody? Welcome back to the Live with Brandon Blakeney podcast. Of course, I'm your host, Brandon Blakeney, aka Brandon Lee TV, back at it again with another banger, my friends. Y'all know the vibes by now. Kick back, relax, and come take a ride with me.
You are now locked into the Live with Brandon Blakeney podcast. Here is your host, Brandon Blakeney.
The Final Four, half of it has already been decided, and there's been a lot of talk, man. South Carolina just survived a freaking heavyweight bout versus Duke, and I talked about the game in my last video, so I'm not going to get so much into that, but more so, I've been seeing more and more people talking about Coach Don Staley, this team, this program, and how in the hell they accumulate so much talent and keep majority of it through the transfer portal, through NIL, through these battles and adversity they're going through. They truly don't lose a ton of transfers.
College sports. Coach Staley, the landscape of college athletics is constantly changing with the transfer portal and NIL. Can you talk about how you've been able to adjust and adapt to have your team make it to 5 straight Final Fours in this climate?
We've done it with great communication. We've done it with great parents. We've done it with a roster full of players that you can real talk to. Like, I don't think we're paying the most in the NIL space, but I don't even know if it's fair, to be quite honest. It's what it is, and then I just think that the state of our game is forever changing, and although, with the revenue sharing coming up, it's supposed to streamline things, but we're right in the middle of change, and we either have to be able to pivot and deal with it and communicate what needs to happen, or we're gonna have to retire and go into a different profession. But I think it boils down to just communication. You either have it or you don't in the NIL space, and then you just have to communicate that to agents and parents and give them a choice. You got non-negotiables, you got priorities. What are your priorities? Is it NIL? If it's NIL, I'm quick to say, go get the money, put it away, let it compound. Okay, if you want something different, you got a different experience, and we've been to 5 straight Final Fours. We know what that looks like and feels like and sounds like, and what goes into that. We're gonna give you a different experience. That's gonna cost you a few dollars.
Okay, thank you.
Much respect. I think this kind of speaks on like the Aaliyah Chavez situation, where it was like she had South Carolina in her final list of schools. It was obvious that NIL was heavily driving her decision. Ended up going to Oklahoma. She was asking for $1.5 million. Don Staley standing on business. If you can go get that money, go get it. That's a real talk. Go get it. Change your family's lives. But over here, we're worried about championships, and we're not paying $1.5 million for one player. But salute to Don Staley, just showing that she is a real one. And regardless of whatever happens, whatever school recruits are committing to that she's recruiting, whatever these young ladies decide, she's giving them the best advice that she can give them, life advice, telling them to go secure the bag if that's what you want. Being up front, because a lot of these coaches will lie to these players, get them there, and then deliver on unpromised commitments, deliver on promises that they couldn't commit to, and then they jump in the transfer portal. The kids get lied to, man. As a former scout, I see it all the time. Coaches be lying to these kids. It's not all on the kids. So for Don Staley to stand up and be a real one and say, hey, go get that money if you want to. If you're chasing individual success and riches, South Carolina not for you. That's no hard feelings. That's just the truth. It's like a date. You don't want to waste my time. I don't want to waste your time. And that's the ultimate respect for me. They've continued to set a standard. I think it's more so not about the 5-star or the caliber of the talent. That definitely has something to do with it. But it's more so about the caliber of the person. Can you sacrifice? Do you have that junkyard dog in you? Can you play defense? Are you willing to play defense? Are you willing to be coached? There's a certain type of player that strives at South Carolina. Yeah, I know Sanaya Rivers got up out of there. Like, there's been some players that have got up out of there. Lasia Cooper got up out of there, and they made the best decisions for themselves, and you got to salute that. There's been several players that did get out of South Carolina, and that's okay. But for the most part, they do a really good job of keeping this talent in-house, and people are big mad. They are complaining about South Carolina having all this talent. They are pissed off at the fact that, they are retaining all this talent and they can throw a second wave of starters at you on the bench. And they do have players that have bought into the culture and the cohesiveness of this program and have chosen to put individual success aside for the betterment of the team. So salute to Don Staley for establishing this culture and for getting all these players to buy in. And salute to the players for committing to the South Carolina standard, trusting the process and banking on making their money later in the WNBA. Moving on, I did want to touch on LSU, who lost today, man. Tough game against UCLA. I felt like Lauren Betts would give them problems, and she has been giving majority of the nation problems all year.
It didn't take long to figure out what she could become. And I think it's been very well documented that it's really the courage of her inner work that she's been willing to do, that few adults are courageous to do. And she inspires me in terms of how she's willing to attack things that are getting in her way. And I think, last year she almost got too good too quick, and that's been sort of documented that was really hard. Well, she's now done all the work in this offseason to now be equipped to be that good. And I knew last year she could become that, but now she's equipped from the inside out to sustain that. And she's just an amazing player on both sides of the ball, and she makes everybody else around her better.
Try our best to rebound with them. They're big. They're big at all positions. They're bigger than we are. But I'm an old point guard that was always told how little I was, and I always have a philosophy that you can't measure heart. Go play.
I think LSU did a pretty solid job of attacking Lauren Betts, getting her into foul trouble, but the way UCLA was shooting the ball today, it did not matter. UCLA picked up the win 72-65. They shot 38.2% from the field, but what was the big difference maker? They hit 10 3-pointers. Gabriela Jaquez hit a few of them. Tamia Gardner was really big in this game. They also shot 28 free throws compared to LSU's 12. LSU usually gets to the line more than that. Now, surprisingly, man, LSU won the battle on the glass. They were giving up a lot of size, like you heard Kim Mulkey say. They won the glass battle. UCLA had 15 assists, 6 blocks, 9 steals, 15 turnovers, and 21 fouls is not going to win you basketball games, man. I think it hurt LSU that Flage went scoreless in the first half. She really balled out in the second half, though, went crazy, finished with 28 points. Anissa Morrow, 15 points and 7 rebounds. She battled some fouls, but also I think the length of UCLA, they threw so many bodies at her today. They were throwing double teams at her. Like, 2 people were literally sandwiching her from getting rebounds. Like, they took her out of this game for the most part, man. She had 15 hard-earned, double-double streak broken, but I think they did a good job with the length and the size, and they just swarmed Anissa Morrow. Michaela Williams, terrible shooting night. Defense was at her. She wasn't hitting the typical shots that we see her make. She also battled some foul trouble as well. And she just never established a rhythm. Samaya Smith completely taken out of this game. She did have 10 rebounds. She fought hard. Shots weren't falling. She's been a very important player for this team, but not enough offense, man. And that's a salute to UCLA's defense, man. The length, the size, Jersey Wolfenbarger, Aaliyah Del Rosario, non-factors in this game, Miracle Shepherd, Last Terapoa, Kaylin Gilbert, Cheyenne Day Wilson, like you name them, and it was not enough. They did not play good basketball today, and they scrapped. They fought hard, and they still were in it till the end, but not enough offense, man. When you got the big three of Michaela Williams and Anissa Morrow, like you got Flage playing her best basketball, but then you got Anissa Morrow and Michaela Williams only combining for 25. Kaylin Gilbert gives you nothing. Cheyenne Wilson really doesn't give you a whole lot. Samaya Smith, who's been one of the most improved players in the country throughout the NCAA tournament, gives you nothing. Miracle Shepherd gives you nothing. On the other side, you got Gabriela Jaquez, who shot lights out. She got a lot of open looks. They brought pressure to Lauren Betts, and she was kicking the ball out of the post. I think UCLA moved the basketball really well, found open shots, utilized their athleticism. Kiki Rice, 8 assists in this contest, controlling the tempo, running the show for this team. I think her just ability to initiate offense for herself and create for others with her size and her basketball IQ, she's a problem, man. Lauren Betts finished with 17 and 7. You had Tamia Gardner when Betts went out. Tamia Gardner was a difference maker for sure. With her shooting, this is the best game she's played all NCAA tournament. Came off the bench and really lit it up from 3. And I think, the boost that she gave them off the bench was a true difference maker. Janiyah Barker played some really good defense in this contest. It was a team effort. They had 3 double-digit scores. Kiki Rice had 8. London Jones put in 5. Like, the 10 3-pointers, man, really changed the perplexity of this game. And, UCLA, if they're playing like this, if they're making shots, this was like the version of them we saw against South Carolina. If they're making shots like this, they're going to be tough to beat. You can collapse on Lauren Betts. I think she showed a lot of patience today, a lot of poise. She fought through adversity, fought through a physical contest, a physical game. And, man, she was burying Samaya Smith. I thought Samaya Smith would put up a better effort. I don't want to say a better effort because her effort was there. I thought that she would just do better against Lauren Betts. I know she's giving up a lot of size, but I think Betts just did a really good job of burying her in the post. Just straight up burying her deep in the post, getting the ball down low. The guards made a conscious effort to get her the rock, and she went to work on that block, man. Fought through foul trouble, and LSU season comes up short. Now, you wonder as an LSU fan, where does the team go? I'll tell you one thing. There are several players on this team that got a free ride this year. Rest assured, LSU, Tiger Nation, the reinforcements are coming. And when these freshmen come in next season, there are several players that I think should definitely think about transferring. Looking at the roster and who could possibly return next year, and I'm just going to make the assumption right now, like for just the status of this video, just for the purposes of this video, we're going to assume, we don't know, but we're going to assume Flau'jae Johnson comes back. So as far as what you're bringing back, right, you got Flau'jae Johnson, you got Michaela Williams who will lead the team. You also have a talented forward coming back in Samaya Smith. You bring back Jersey Wolfenbarger, assuming Alea Del Rosario. But the thing is, man, with Alea Del Rosario, I think they go all in for Sarah Williams in this transfer portal. The Wisconsin big, averaged a double-double basically last season. I think they go all in on her to replace Anissa Morrow. And then you bring in another freshman who's super talented at 6'3" in Grace Knox. Like, that front court is going to be fortified. If they can bring Sarah Williams in, you bring back Samaya Smith, you bring in Grace Knox, who can be a miniature Anissa Morrow, like 6'3", can put the ball on the floor, like super skilled wing, like 3-4 hybrid forward, has the post game, can hit the fadeaway over the shoulder, really reliable finisher on the block, can handle it, can shoot the 3 as well, like really nice mid-range jumper as well. So you're fortifying that position. It might be time for Alea Del Rosario to get up out of there. I know she had an injury, she gained some weight, and they're expecting her to really take that next step next year, but I mean, I don't know, man. It seems like time is kind of running out, and she really hasn't done anything to live up to the billing of being a 5-star recruit or the number 1 big in her class or a McDonald's All-American. Like, she hasn't progressed at all. And it might be time for her to look for greener pastures elsewhere, maybe play a level down and get up out the SEC, because she's one player that's been getting a free ride. Another player, Miracle Shepherd, I think, if she decides to stay, her defense can very much so be valuable. And I know that she battled an injury. She was still acclimating. So it's no shade to Miracle Shepherd. At the same time, you got Devon Burridge, a big guard coming in. You got Zakiya Johnson, another big guard coming in. And you got Bella Hines coming in that plays point guard. Like, minutes are going to be limited. Burridge is like a Malaysia Fulwiley clone almost, with the handles and the shot-making ability. Think Malaysia Fulwiley, think Jelani Cambridge, like that mode. She's going to command playing time easily, early, and often. Zakiya Johnson, another big guard, can play the 2 or the 3, big wing, can score it at all 3 levels, rebounds it, defends. Like, she is going to need immediate minutes as well at that 2 or that 3 spot. That is limited time when you mention that you're also bringing Jada Richard back. You still have Kaylin Gilbert in the mix. That doesn't lead, like, it seems like Miracle Shepherd could be the odd man out of that lineup, man. There's, other than defense, like the offensive upside that she brings, we didn't really see it this year for the most part. She looked uncomfortable, and I don't know if she wants to stick it out another year being buried on the bench. Then also, speaking of Kaylin Gilbert, now I know she was the 4th leading scorer on this team, came up with some big buckets, but through most of the NCAA tournament, man, she was terrible. I'm going to be honest with y'all. She was terrible. Through most of the NCAA tournament, she was terrible. We got to be honest. So with that being said, you're bringing back Jada Richard, you're bringing back Flau'jae, you're bringing back Michaela Williams at the guard spot. You're also bringing in one of the best shooters in the class of 2025 in Bella Hines, who is a really good point guard prospect. Has the shooting ability to slide over and play off ball as well. She's going to command minutes early as well, I think. Then you got Devon Burge, who can play either guard spot that we mentioned, who's an elite scorer, who I think is going to be a better player than Kaylin Gilbert, no disrespect. They're bringing in bigger guards that are going to be better defensively. Like, Kaylin Gilbert sold a lot of games this year. I'm not going to hold you. She played some really good games, but she sold when they needed her most in a lot of big games. So, that might be a player that might need to, consider hitting the door. And that might be a tough look. That might sound like I'm being very tough on her, or very, I don't know, like I'm hating or something, but I'm just being honest, man. This level of talent that they're bringing in is going to be a lot better. And I say, if Alea Del Rosario does come back, I don't know, might be looking at Jersey Wolfenbarger, man, because Grace Knox is coming to take those minutes at the 4. She's coming to take those minutes. So that's definitely going to cut into Jersey Wolfenbarger's time. Like, she had a year to kind of pull it together. She's got an off season. I still think she's super talented, but if you're looking to get more playing time than 13.4 minutes per game, and you got this super freshman class coming in, you might want to consider looking at maybe playing a little bit down in competition as well, because she was another player that never really looked comfortable. Now, I will give Wolfenbarger some grace, and I think they could use her next season. I will say this, she is a player that spent most of her career on the perimeter, 6'5", and they had her playing the 4, and she did her best to hold her own. So I'm giving her some grace. She's definitely a player with some length and some upside and some untapped potential that they could use next season for sure. Kaylin Gilbert, also a bucket that could help a lot of teams. I just don't know if she's going to want to take a step back in playing time, because, man, I'm telling you, that freshman class that's coming in is super talented, and they're going to be ready to play immediately. I see all 4 of them getting minutes, like, immediately. So those are some players that I think, kind of let LSU down this year, didn't play really good throughout the NCAA tournament, and could be looking at either sitting the bench a lot more than they did this year, or maybe need to think about transferring out. But y'all let me know how y'all feel in the comments. That is a wrap for us. For all the latest and the greatest, I am Brandon Blakeney, aka Brandon Lee TV. This is the Live with Brandon Blakeney podcast. And until next time, we out.